Welcome to our What I Wish I Knew Before I Did My Studies series. We started this series based on our recent experiences because we're reasonably newbie graduates of postgrad programs. Dr. Matilda and I, Dr. Karen, uh, we did our PhD programs as international students, so we weren't even in our home country. But before we delve into the topic of today, welcome to our new and returning viewers. And today we want to talk about passion and patience. And what I mean by that, you're struggling while dedicated. Many PhD students, many postdoc students, many final year bachelor students, and have different procrastination profiles, be it low, mild, or high or severe levels. What helps is a flow of self motivation, mindfulness, and self worth theories. One of the things that may have been a little bit of an advantage for the two of us is that we were both academic professionals before we started our studies. So, with that, we were forced to research things that help our students that we were teaching. And some of those things we were able to resort to during our tenure as students. All right, we talk about paradoxes today. And I want to talk a little bit about uh, the procrastination profiles I mentioned earlier. There's a psychologist by the name of Gross, don't know if I pronounced that correctly, and he talked about these levels. And in general, what he meant is that you can fluctuate between the levels, even though you may be a self starter and you may have dealt with isolation while you study. There are times when it doesn't matter what, you will have a severe burst of procrastination, you have a severe focus issue, you will struggle with writer's block, you will doubt that you even know where you're going with this research. And one of the things you have to remember, academia thrives on critics. And so if you go into academic expecting not to be criticized, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You know, I talk about peer review articles. The reviewers literally critique everything. They rarely give any solid uh, compliments. It's critique, and they go through everything with a fine tooth comb. And so, bearing that in mind, you will eliminate a high proportion of the expectation uh, fallacies that will cause you to doubt yourself, that will bring conflicts, that will make you procrastinate. Expectation is a terrible word because it can land you in so much negative hot water. You expect something from your supervisor, you expect from your scholarship uh, committee, you expect from the country you're living in, the university you're attending, And sometimes those expectations all emerge at the same time, and you end up in a situation where you plummet into anxiety, depression, and if you don't stem it early, you can have a mental breakdown where you're reluctant to return to this messy mental space, and the trigger is the academic environment. So let's look a little bit a diagram on the procrastination levels. I remember, be your own overcomer. And we here are rooting for you. Uh, how you identify and manage these procrastination uh, battles. You have mild, moderate, and severe, and how it works. You literally don't want to do anything. Uh, One of the things you can do is periodically set little deadlines for yourself. And the moderate level is where you consciously decide you don't want to do anything. But yet you feel guilty because you know it has to be done. Here, some things at work, you can set a deadline. And so when you begin to feel worn out and tired doing the activity, you can take a break because you've met that little deadline. For example, when I had to write this large thesis, I set myself a goal of 500 words in the morning on a particular part of the paper. For example, the literature review or the data discussion or so on. So I go in there with a set deadline, a set ID, and a set research parameters. And after that, you can reward yourself. You can have a frappuccino, for example, or for summer, a nice cold icy beverage. Severe is when you literally shut down. You want to drop out of the program, and if you do the work, you do it with such reluctance, and it's shabbily done. And then you miss the deadline, I expect everybody to give you extensions. Here is when you need professional help, professional support, and most importantly, identify what are the causes. And remember to be compassionate with yourself. Often we forget self-compassion. We are compassionate to others, but we forget ourselves. We need to be compassionate to ourselves too. So I hope these little tips and hacks and tricks help you. If you need further help or to continue the conversation, you can email us or place your ideas in the comments below. In our next clip, we'll be answering some other questions, viewers or other online questions being asked in Google. And as part of the ongoing conversation, you're welcome to add yours. The link to our previous clips or playlists, if you will, is in the description. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.